Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. All right, y'all. So I did use my homemade deck, and this is the deck that has biblical characters. And I have two biblical characters that came out in this reading. In the center of this reading, I have Abel. Now, let's just talk about Abel real quick. Adam and Eve have two sons. The youngest son, the second born, is Abel. The older brother, firstborn, is Cain. So it's time to offer sacrifices to God. Abel is a shepherd, and he offers the firstborn of his flock to God. Cool. Cain is a farmer, so he offers some fruits from his soil to God. Well, God receives the offerings and shows favor to Abel based on what he offered as a sacrifice. Well, his older brother becomes jealous with the favor that is bestowed upon him, so jealous that he decides to kill his younger brother. So now this reading is not only talking to Abel, so I'm talking to somebody, and really when I say sacrifice in modern day, I'm really talking about the way you show up, the way you live your life, the quality of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Like, how much of you have you really dedicated to God and the Most High? Now, I also have ancestry. When we're talking about ancestry, we're talking about the ability to honor your roots. When I think about ancestors, life is really like a relay race. Right now, your life, you are running this race with a baton. Your race started when you were born, and it is going to end when you transition. When you transition, you hand the baton to the next ancestor that is supposed to come in and run the race. They're going to pick up right where you left off. There are some lives that we live that don't nobody want to get the baton next based on how we're living. So think about being Abel and thinking about being Cain. You have somebody who is jealous, so jealous that they killed. And then you have somebody like Abel, right? Who really thought about the integrity of his sacrifice, thought about his days, thought about his times, thought about a relationship with the Most High, like everything had meaning and purpose, and it was demonstrated. So oftentimes people say like favor ain't fair. And it's because maybe when you see it on a physical level, it doesn't appear to be fair, but there are a lot of things that go unseen or unknown that are contributing to the fact that you have this favor. You don't just get it because you want it, but the things that you do that nobody knows about, the thoughts that you have, the conversations, there are so many things about the way you move, about the way you run this race called life that allows the Most High and the ancestors to favor you, and they favor you because they can trust you. Now, when we're talking about trust and favor, we immediately have to connect that to our ability to make mistakes. To think that you can live this life and never make a mistake is impossible. And sometimes the greater mistake, the greater the lesson, the more you can learn. And so sometimes we do feel a sense of shame and regret and remorse when we fuck up, because nobody wants to be in that energy. But it is in that moment, I believe, that we are watched the heaviest, because it's like, well, how do you come back from this? What is your next thought going to be? What is your next feeling or emotion going to be? Now, the very first card I pulled to begin this reading, it says recover. And so this tells me that you may be in the process of running your race. Imagine running around a track. You're running this race called life, but you trip and you fall. Now, did you wear the wrong shoes? Were you hanging out with the wrong people before the race? Did you not get enough sleep? Did you not eat the right food? Did you not train well? There are many reasons why when we are running our race, we fall or we make a mistake. And so it's really not about the fact that you made a mistake. It's like, how well can you recover? And so there is a mistake possibly, and I'm talking about a mistake. I have one of my handmade cards. It's a proverb. It says, better a mistake at the beginning than at the end. The energy that is coming out with this mistake that you may have made, it says cannot be trusted, corruption, criminals, robbery, extortion, foolish plans, fraud, scandal, no honor amongst thieves. So not only do I have Abel in ancestry, but I also have Two of Cups coming out in the center. And so this makes me think about a partnership. I feel like there is a partnership that is coming to you and is coming to you because of how you recovered from a mistake. The mistake that you may have made is about the quality of person or people that you were connected to. Can you imagine being in the energy and the spirit of Abel, but then marrying a Cain, or dating a Cain, or having a child with a Cain, or like committing your work life to somebody like Cain? And sometimes when you are committed to those type of people, it is really hard for your ancestors to feel gung-ho about running the race after you. Because for Cain and Abel to be in a connection together, there's only so far that your lineage will be able to go as long as you run this race. And so when your race ends and they have to come in and pick up the baton, the quality of what you leave behind is very different. When Abel dates somebody like Abel, think about how much further you'll go. But when you date somebody like Cain, who's jealous of you, who's jealous of your favor, jealous of your calling, jealous of your anointing, the mess that is left behind from that type of connection means that when the ancestors come in, they got a little more work to do. Not only are you coming out as Abel, but I think the thing that makes you Abel is the fact that you are this raven, okay? And so the favor in your life is going to look like the energy that you would assign to a raven. You are the messenger. You are the messenger of the Most High, but you are the messenger of your ancestors. You are the mouthpiece that they trust. But they trust you because they have seen how you have recovered from low moments. They see how you bounce back from mistakes. Now, when I'm talking about a raven, it means that they trust you to keep the ancient wisdom. They trust you with secrets of magic. They trust you with the spirit world and the knowledge and the ancient wisdom. And this is also about life and death. Ravens represent life and death, but I almost feel like you are the conduit between both sides. So I'm going to go back to the beginning real quick. The very first card I pulled was recycle or recover. This is the image that came to my mind. Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya. I know there are other African countries that do this, but imagine if during your life, the Most High is like, okay, I need you to be a tire. And in the process of you being a tire, you're going to have to carry heavy weight. You're going to have to travel down some rough roads. And you're also going to have to be traveling in different weather systems. So sometimes I'm going to need you to drive when it's snowing. Other times I'm going to need you to drive when it's a heat wave. Sometimes it'll be cold or sleet, right? And you're like, cool, it's got it. Like, I'm fine. Like, I could be a tire. I can carry weight. Like, I can transport stuff, no problem. Well, what happens as this tire? What happens if all of a sudden you carry a van full of criminals? Or what happens when you drive down roads or you make turns down streets that you're not supposed to go on? Well, at some point you get a flat tire. Now, when you get this flat tire, you were at the beginning of your spiritual mission or your spiritual calling. You were just at the start of it, which is why I think this card says better a mistake at the beginning than at the end. So you got a flat tire, so the Most High can't use you in the way that he used you before. But you have a spiritual strength about you, and this is what matters most. It's not about you making the mistake. It's like, well, what is inside of you when you can't come back in the same way that you just existed? You're like, all right, God, listen, maybe I can't be a tire, but I could be a pair of sandals. I could be a flip-flop. When I see recycle and recover, that is what I thought about. That is what I thought about. Recycled tires being transitioned into sandals and flip-flops. Do you guys know about those sandals? And the countries I named, I know they make them, but there are many more, not just those, but those are the three that I remember. So you made a mistake. You were supposed to be this tire, but you got a flat road. You could have been linked up with some canes. You could have been carrying people, like energetically entertaining people that were really criminals and frauds, right? Or you could have been using the same like vessel in order to go in places energetically or spiritually, or like go in places where you would have been put at risk, meaning you would have risked your calling somehow. And so you get a flat tire, and now you know, but when you get the flat tire, you're not like, damn. It's not like, damn, I'll never be able to do my mission, or I'll never be able to fulfill my calling, or I'll never be able to be used by the Most High. You're like, no. Oh, I know. Listen, I can be used for something. I can do something. This experience taught me something, so I'm not done. Maybe in that capacity, I have changed forms or I have shifted shapes, but I'm not done. And so now this is your spiritual strength, because guess what? Not only do we make the mistake, but a lot of times we don't just go ahead. We're not able to just say sorry and then jump into a new mission. We got to balance out that energy. This is where your spiritual strength is needed. And so for this part, we talk about you being, listen, if you are a flat tire in the physical world and you got to turn into a pair of sandals or flip-flops, there's a process. You got to be broken down. You got to be shredded. You got to be torn apart. You got to be shaped and remolded into something new. Spiritually, that is heavy. Spiritually, that can be taxing. To watch something that you were previously a part of be broken and shredded, and then you still being able to sustain yourself, sustain your mind, sustain your emotions so that you can still be used in a different way. When I'm talking about your spiritual strength, we have the energy of being able to adapt quickly to situations. And so this is about you getting a flat tire somewhere in your life and then just like patching it for just a moment until you can figure out, well, what is the next thing I could do, right? Maybe you don't have a spare, but you got a patch. Sometimes a patch is just a thought. It is a high vibrational thought when you are in a low vibrational situation. You're like, I just got to patch this tire until I figure out what to do next. Well, the next thing is you're like, fine, I guess I can't move in the same way that I was moving for the Most High, but I know that everything that I just experienced, I can be used for something else. So now you a fly ass sandal. Okay. But to go from a tire and a sandal is a process. You being able to spiritually endure the breaking down of you as a tire and being reshaped and formed into a sandal, you had to survive that. Your ability to survive and navigate that and come back out on top is the exact thing that honors your lineage. This is what the ancestors look for. You know, when we're talking about ancestors, it's like when you look at your life and the type of race that you've run, are you a good runner? Are you committed? Do you train? Are you dedicated? You know what I'm saying? Because wherever you stop your race is where they have to pick it up. And so the quality of how you've been running the race called life determines whether or not you can be trusted to be this raven, to carry this wisdom, to be the messenger, to have this secrets, to have this knowledge, right? And so the way you run indicates what you can carry, the mantle, the calling, the anointing that you are fit to hold as long as you run. So you're recovering. You've been this tire, you got flat, you know why you got flat, you adapted real quick, now you're in the energy of good luck. Now, the good luck could be the favor that most people would call it, but it's really about the things that go unknown. It is about all the unseens that you do that make you stand out as somebody that is trusted, somebody that is honest, somebody that is just, somebody that is righteous. It's not about being perfect. It's about like recovering from the imperfect moments in a way that looks like integrity. This is you. So it shows that not only are you in the energy of good luck, but you're juggling, meaning there are going to be many different seeds that you can juggle. You're like, do I want to plant this or do I want to plant this? Now, when you made a mistake, better a mistake at the beginning than at the end, you can be any age, but you could have just started your spiritual mission. Now in numerology, maturity, true maturity does not begin until between the ages of like 40 or 42 and 45. But there is a literal number in your numerology chart called your maturity number. And that number tells you at this age, 40, somewhere in your early 40s, at this age, this is what you are going to have to learn. You will need to have been mature. You will need to have seasoned yourself in this specific energy to kind of begin your path. So you fall down. Possibly you were carrying a whole bunch of thieves or corrupt energies. But then we have the energy of Obatala. And so one of the reasons why you get this good luck, because you get these seeds, is because you didn't lose your mind. You made a mistake, but your mind didn't break down. Even if you were hanging out or dating or being linked up as able to a whole bunch of Cains, your mind didn't become corrupt. You didn't mentally become a fraudster, a liar, or a cheater, right? You may have entertained or linked up with certain energies or gotten yourself in certain situations, but somehow after making this mistake, you ascended to the highest possible form. I have a card that says ascend to the highest level of human existence. You did that based on the quality of your own mind. But what does your mind have to do in order to fall down while you're winning a race, get back up just to become the winner again? How do you become the loser? And then in the process of becoming the loser, how do you get back up and become the winner? That is about mind power. I have the Orisha Obatala. And so Obatala is about mind, peace, balance, and health. Objects connected to Obatala. This could be any substance that is all white, silver, and platinum. In the event that you cook or you have altars for Orishas, for Obatala, foods that are connected are pears, coconut, and black-eyed peas. And so the good luck first comes to you in mental form. And I got the energy of rejoicing and celebration. So you went from needing to be spiritually strong as you went from this tire to these sandals. And then now you're in the energy of celebrating because you're like, I'm sandals. Like I got options. Like I'm not done yet. Like the race is still going, right? And so this talks about your ability to have like deep wisdom and to connect with the depth of your own emotion. So when you fall, when you make this mistake, you just go deeper. You just go deeper. And when you go deep, you don't lose your mind. Some situations are going to take you so deep just to see if you can hold on to all the pieces of you. Not only can you hold on to you as you go through this experience, but like when you come back up and you resurface, like who are you? How do you speak? How do you think? How do you talk? Right? Ancestors, they want to be able to call certain people grandma or great grandma or grandpa or great grandpa. Are you the type of person that somebody would be proud to say, that's my great grandma over there. Look at my great grandpa, right? It is about the way you ran your race. Your ancestors are just people, souls who are going to be born after you. And the quality of life that you live makes you this favored messenger or this favored raven. So now we're talking about not only are you, listen, in order for Abel to be able to offer God the firstborn of his flock, he had to possess a level of awareness that he was co-creating. So if you were in a relationship with the Most High, who's done all of this, why not give the best that you have? And like, you know what I mean? Like, if you have to match, not that we could ever match what the Most High does, but if you're going to offer something, you better offer something. When you look at all this, right? No matter how you feel, no matter how many mistakes you made, no matter how many criminals you linked up with, no matter how many times you fell down, right? It's like if you're going to offer something, you better offer something because you couldn't do any of this. You couldn't create any of this on your own. And so if you are going to work, if you're going to have proximity in that type of relationship, you better show up and show out. That's what Abel did. And this is what affords you favor. But this is what also the ancestors would consider to be as you as someone who honors their roots. And so it is not because you made a mistake. It is a way you came back from a possible mistake. And now what happens to you? Now we have a Two of Cups situation. I feel like this. Now, one time I gave a reading and I was saying this love is ancestor approved. That is kind of giving me the energy of this. Like this, you know, there are certain relationships. I already talked about it. But like you can't go that far if you're Abel and you're married to Cain, right? Like honoring your ancestors, that would not be the best relationship. I mean, yeah, you could grow to be grandparents together, but just the quality of lives that you have built as parents and grandparents. Listen, if you're with somebody who's jealous, who really don't like you, who really don't understand your calling, like you got a battle inside your home. You know, like think about the amount of weight that you carry. Your mission is already hard enough. But you just got to fight to get out of your house. You got to fight to go to bed peacefully. You got to fight to eat dinner, in a balanced state of mind. Just think about what that is like. So now you got the war in your house and you got the war in the world that you're supposed to be serving or sorting through energetically. So your ability to endure difficulties, your ability, and listen, that is what makes a magician, or that what makes the awareness. You know, sometimes we think we can just do something real quick in order to manipulate things so that it goes the way we want it to go. And so for Abel to offer his firstborn, this is somebody that didn't want to manipulate. This is somebody that wanted to co-create. And so this is about you literally going through the worst and being able to muster up your best and still bring it forward. Like not try to hold on to it, not try to keep it for self. This is about you really recognizing that this is a race. And when I'm done here, I got to pass the baton. And when I pass the baton, any soul that comes after me, they need to be proud of the way I ran. And it is the way I run that sets them up, right? Am I second, third, fourth, or fifth? Did I quit in the race? Did I not show up to training? What kind of shoes am I running in? Like, you know what I mean? It's like really being intentional about your days, your thoughts, your feelings. It's being intentional about everything. But obviously you've done this. And so now we have this Two of Cups relationships. This relationship that is coming in is going to be a relationship that honors your roots. This is grandmama and this is granddaddy, okay? This is like, and listen, you can be any age and just meeting. You know, sometimes you'll get in a relationship with people and it feels like you've been together 50 years. So it doesn't even matter if you're in your 60s. This is going to be a relationship because of the way this person has been running their race, because of how you have been running your race. When you finally get together, it's like y'all are on the last leg. But you learn through all the mistakes that you have been through that when you get together, it's like you get to it's what is smooth sailing? Yeah, it's smooth sailing. Because of the mistakes and because of the comeback and the spiritual strength and your ability to adapt and all of those. Okay, fine. So there's a Two of Cups that is coming to you, and it is only because of your resilience. It is only because of your resilience that you have shown, not only can I handle my race, but like I can be trusted to run alongside another and not mess them up, not take them off of their mission, not take them off of their path. And so now we have the energy of victory and success. The evil that you had to eliminate, right? Because listen, Cain and Abel, they were in the same household. They were family. And so when I have the energy of criminals and frauds, I'm really thinking about your ancestral line. Like you could have been literally in a family with people who were fraudsters, who were liars, who were thieves, but you didn't run like them. Now, maybe in the beginning you made a few mistakes because you followed the patterns or the programming, but at some point it was the spiritual strength in you and you're like, God, I can't be a tire anymore, but you know, what else can you use me for? This is about you being willing. This is about you being able. So now here's the second. This is the second card that I've gotten from my biblical deck. So I told you about Abel, which is y'all. That's who I'm talking to. The person that is coming in, they're coming out in the energy of Zacharias. And so it says he was a priest visited by the angel Gabriel, who predicted his barren wife would present him a son, John the Baptist. So like not everything has to be true of that, about like not every quality. But one, I want to think about, let's think about a couple things. So we have Zacharias. So the person that you possibly could be linking up with, this is somebody who could be older, but this is somebody who could have held on to some type of promise or knowledge from the Most High. And yes, he had a wife who was barren, who was supposed to give birth to John the Baptist. Like all of that doesn't have to be true, but this could be like there was a partner that always knew that they had a mate. They always knew that if I exist, there's got to be somewhere out there that exists just like me. And so you're coming out in the energy of Raven, this messenger, this trusted being and soul that your ancestors have selected to carry certain wisdom, gifts, traits, talents, and abilities. And then you have Zacharias. Now, this person could be a priest. They could have some, they could have some type of powers, but I feel like this is a person who had a promise attached to their life. They had knowledge that even in their older years, there is someone that was supposed to link. Like, that's what I'm feeling. It's like when they meet you, it's almost like they're like, I knew you were coming. Like God told me you were coming, that kind of thing. Now, together, the both of you have the ability to eliminate evil. You both. So like now you've been running your race. They've been running their race. You finally meet up. And so whatever you just slayed independently, you have the ability to do it together. When you link up together, it represents an ending or a conclusion being in reach. And we have a beautiful transformation is coming. And so the way you ran your race literally attracted or manifested somebody who was somewhere else running just like you. You may get a message. I have the energy of Page of Wands. So we have message, we have balance, power, the ability to be versatile and adapt to circumstances. Like these are all of the things that you have both been doing independently. But I feel like in the energy of Abel, you had to date a couple Cains Like you had to make a few mistakes, and this could be both of you at the same time, but you're both in seasons of recovery. And so after you recover, you've been reshaped and molded and formed in this way, and now you come together. And so when you are together, I literally have elimination of evil. Let me see. Y'all, so that is the reading. So in the center, it's about a Two of Cups relationship. And this relationship is sent by way of your ancestors. It's coming to Abel, who clearly has some type of favor. Your favor could come in the form of you being this messenger. Okay. And so we have Abel, we have somebody in the energy of Zacharias. So this is somebody who could be, who has relationships with the angels, somebody who knew that there was some type of promise or something attached to their life later on. Like maybe they had an angelic dream. Maybe they got a message from the angels that says, hey, at some point you will cross paths with a specific person. It will lead to a beautiful transformation, and it will also be an ending or a conclusion to a certain situation. But you both had to be patient. You both had to stand in your power way before you even knew each other, right? Like you had to demonstrate all of the qualities independently, and now you get to do it collectively. And so this is like the relationship that your ancestors are like, this connection is going to honor our roots. This is literally grandma and grandpa. Like that's what I'm feeling. Both of y'all are probably recycled shoes. You used to be tires, and then you got flat. You made a couple decisions that was like not the way to go, but you learned from it. You maintained your mind. You went to the depths of your emotions. You collected all the wisdom. You're like, I ain't doing that shit again, right? Sometimes people have to go through the experience so many times in order to gain the wisdom, because they're not applying the knowledge from their last mistake. That's not y'all. That is not who y'all are. And so, yes, you could have been through some things, but it's about your comeback. It is about your comeback. And so before you transition, before you give the baton to your ancestors, and before they come and run their race, I feel like there is something that they want to give you first. And it is coming in the form of a connection and a relationship. But you had to run to earn this. You had to run to get it. That's the reading I'm getting, y'all. Your ability to face challenges patiently. You know, some people don't want to fall. Some people don't want to experience a challenge. They're so scared of failing. No, that's not what the ancestors are looking for. That's not what the Most High is looking for, because challenges are promised. Failure is promised. Mistakes are promised. So in the mind of Obatala, you got to make peace with fucking up and get over the fuck up. And then how do you come back? It's about that comeback. Okay. All right, y'all. I love you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.